called me over. So I walked over, obviously, because I was back in the Taufahema brothers all the way when I was young. And as I walked over, all I seen was a front line filled with Islander soldiers at my age at the time, like 16, 17, 18 to 21, 22, yeah? And they were all mouthing off at each other, the Middle Eastern and the Islander boys. And Bui Taufahema, he was just standing there. He was just standing there like this, really quiet, yeah? While everyone was mouthing off at each other, what? And then when I walked over and I looked at them, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get involved in this unless it breaks out. So I'm just going to stand back. So I stood back and I just watched it because I had nothing to do with it. And they had heaps of boys. They didn't even need me there. So as I was standing there and all this freaking yapping was going on, Bui Taufahema pushed his way through to the front, yeah? As he got to the front, he walked straight over to the Middle Eastern boys. 3 of them, who were muscly guys, stepped back. And when they stepped back, Bui just walked straight in and he just cracked the muscliest one. As he cracked him, boom, the brawl broke out. Everyone just started brawling. But Bui was in the front. And let me tell you something, guys. You know, everyone that was in the front of the line who was yapping, yeah? They were all older. They were all Bui's older boys. So Bui was the youngest, all right? He walked in the front while all these older boys were yapping, and he just cracked the muscliest Middle Eastern guy, and then the brawl broke out. When the brawl broke out, I'm telling you right now, he was taking on at least 5 guys, yeah? Me, I had nothing to do with it. So what I did was, whichever Islander boys were outnumbered, I would just run over and clock whoever I had to clock from the side. So pretty much I was cheap shotting everyone, but I didn't really nothing with it. I think I cheap shotted probably about 3 guys that night. But it was all in brawl. Everyone can do whatever the hell they want. And again, not one person had weapons. This was a good, clean brawl. It was all fists, yeah? Cheap shots, all good. So this is the reason why, like I'm saying, like this is, I understand that you want to call Bui a snitch because, yeah, he wrote paper, he made a statement. But you have to understand, I read this paperwork, yeah? The police even said he was heavily influenced, you know, like on drugs and alcohol. So when they were talking to him, they were telling him, if you give us all the information right now, we will let you go home to your family. And his family members were very, very sick at the time, yeah? And he was off his face on drugs and alcohol. Now, I'm not making an excuse for Bui, for what he did. I'm not making an excuse. All I'm going to say to you is this. I grew up with him, and he is about it, yeah? Like, freaking, mate, he's better than most that have a big name today, you know? He goes on with it. Like all of yous know that he's inside prison right now and he can't defend his name. But let me say something. You know how yous are all calling him a snitch, yeah? He's inside prison and he's going to every main. All right, so you got protection and you've got a main, yeah? Anyone that's a snitch or a dog has to go to protection. Now, yes, Bui did make a mistake, but this is what Bui did. As soon as he realized he made a mistake, obviously the drugs got out of his system. His older brother Oscar went off at him because of the statement that he made. Bro, he didn't even realize it. He didn't even know he said anything, yeah? He went above and beyond to retract his statement. Yeah, it was too late because he had already done something. He had already said what he said. And a lot of good boys did time because of what Bui said. But he did try to make it right. And to this day, Bui has never gone to protection. Every main he goes to, yeah, he tells everyone straight. That's what makes me laugh. It's like all these people that are talking rubbish about him, have a look at him. He's in prison, yeah? And every time he gets into a main, he just tells everyone straight, you got an issue? Let's go to the cell. Like he doesn't care if you've got a shiv or not. He's like, come, we'll go. He fights anyone, anywhere. He doesn't care. And he lays people out. When I say lays people out, he knocks them the F out, all right? Now, at Nowra prison, just before I got out 5 months ago, there was an incident that happened at Nowra. So it was probably about 9 or 10 months ago, yeah? The officers were telling me that Bui is one of the most violent people that they've come across. Mate, not only did he go off at all the screws during COVID and that. He climbed up on the roof, and remember, they will when I tell you that they shoot gas, they actually shoot it out of a gun, and when the gas comes, like obviously it goes everywhere, and then everyone's rubbing their eyes because it stings and whatnot. Now they were shooting these gas canisters at Bui at Narrow Prison, and he had, I don't know what he had in his hand, but he was using it like a cricket bat, and he was hitting it all the gas away. This Bui was being hammered with friggin' gas, and he didn't care. The officers were like, we couldn't friggin' get him off the roof. This guy, he wanted to fight everyone. He didn't care who it was. He didn't ask anyone for help. He didn't ask anyone to jump on the roof with him. All he wanted to do was fight screws, and that's what he did, This is what I mean. Like, you got 9 to 5 guys who have nothing to do, and they think that they know about gang life, and then they just start talking rubbish. Just like the same thing that happened with me. I'm sitting inside prison, and then I got all these people talking a lot of rubbish about myself, and I had to come out here and straighten all this rubbish here. So now I'm here straightening out Bui Taufahema's rubbish, right? Yes, he did make a statement, and I read it myself. I was very, very disappointed in him. But when I read it, I realized that the cops got him when he was heavily influenced on drugs and on alcohol. And I'm not just saying a little bit. Like, it actually says in his statement heavily, like, he had a lot of different types of drugs in his system. So he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And by the time he realized, straight away, he wanted to retract the statement and make it right with his co-offenders, And like I said, I'm not making this up as an excuse. All I'm saying is the bloke has been defending his wrong for the past 10 years, and not one person in the system inside prison has been able to put him in the boneyard. Bro, the bloke doesn't give a damn. He'll lay out anyone that calls him a dog. So to all of you that keep saying things to me, I'm not trying to stick up for him. I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. All I'm trying to say is, like, that's what happened. And if you got something to say, then go say it to his face. Well, good. Leave me alone. Leave me out of it. Like, mate, I never said that I was gangbanging with the Taufahema brothers. I was never gangbanging with the Taufahema brothers. I grew up with them, and we were very, very close. And then we parted ways. The reason why I parted ways from them is because these boys, they all touched drugs and alcohol. Me, growing up, I never touched anything. So I went and found my own path of gangstering on. And they had their way of gangstering on, and I had my own. So I don't want you to keep thinking that I'm sticking up for Bui or whatnot. I'm just telling facts. That's what my platform is about, telling facts, So if you got anything to say to Bui, good luck to ya. Go and say it to the bloke. He's in Supermax right now, and he'll be getting out of Supermax soon. And if you have a friend inside prison that you think is about it, then tell them to go call him a snitch. Good luck to ya. Yalla. All right. That's Bui Taufahema's story. I'm not going to go talk any more about him. I just thought that I would correct it because a lot of yous out there talk a lot of rubbish about him, but none of you will go say it to his face. Anya, do what you got to do. So again, everyone that's out there, please double tap, get these bloody likes up. Let's tell this story about Ray Martin. There was history between my brothers and I and Ray Martin. Not just my brothers and I, my sister as well. I didn't really want to tell this story, but you know what? Like, I think it's a story that the younger generation will learn from. That's the only reason why I'm willing to tell this story. I'm not trying to put Ray Martin on show. He's obviously he was locked up. I don't know if he's still locked up, but he's like myself and my brothers. Went in and out of prison, like his whole life. But a big situation occurred inside prison with Ray Martin, and this situation occurred obviously because of myself and my brother 212 Heat. But the reason why this happened is a big learning curve to the younger generation that's up and coming now in the criminal world. Now let's get to it. For all of you younger generation out there that's doing what needs to be done for yourselves, and I'm talking about the criminal stuff you are doing, remember, everything you do, there's going to be repercussions. And this is the same as the guys who did the kidnapping last week. Like, they're spending time now away from the area and doing what they need to do to be able to survive. Like, obviously the police are still chasing them, but the family who they were involved in kidnapping, remember, they're legitimate family. So George, Charlie and their family, they're legitimate family. They will never ever seek revenge, or they will never ever try to retaliate. Why? Because they're a legitimate family, yeah? But remember how I told you guys that they got the wrong guy, that George was the wrong guy? The guy that they were supposed to kidnap, he's actually a gangster. And he found out that he was the target. So this is what I say, repercussions, yeah? Those boys that did what they did, the guy that was supposed to be nabbed, he knows now that it was supposed to be him, and now he's going to be getting ready to do what he needs to do. So to everyone out there that's in and amongst fucking crime right now, just remember, there's a lot that's going to come back on you if you keep doing what you're doing. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to be your role model. I'm just telling you my story with the hope that you learn from it. And what the boys did last week with their kidnapping, God willing, nothing happens to them. God willing, the guy that I know about, doesn't go above and beyond to retaliate, because I know that he's about it. But let's have a look at the streets, yeah? With Ray Martin's story, it's all started from my sister in Bankstown. So if Ray Martin is outside and he's watching this will probably be the first time Ray Martin has ever heard me talk about this situation. So throughout the years, I have sent him many messages. All he had to do was apologize about what happened, and I would have let it go. But because he refused to apologize, my guys were always doing what they needed to do to attack him. You know what I mean? And, that was the old me. If it was the me now, I would have sat him down and I would have taught him a good lesson because my sister was the one that got harmed, But back then, all the boys in the crew found out that my sister was harmed, and then straight away everyone was on the path of revenge. Even though it was a little incident, at the end of the day, if you're messing around with a gangster's sister, you're gonna cop it. It's as simple as that. So let's talk on Ray Martin, because Ray Martin has never heard this story from me. So I'm about to explain it properly now. My sister was at Bankstown train station and she just finished university. All right, my sister's a good girl. She's never been involved in crime. She's never been involved in nothing. I even had a fallout with my sister because she hated the fact that I was a criminal. I had a fallout with my sister because she deemed me the reason for my brothers following in my footsteps. Now, my brothers are big boys. They make their own decisions. Yet my sister chose to blame me for their antics. Even though my brothers went and did things off their own accord, I didn't order them to do it. I didn't tell them what to do. My sister still blamed me, and you know what? I'll take accountability. At the end of the day, I am the oldest, and I should be the one to lead the right path, but I didn't. I've been a criminal since I was a kid. In year 2, that was the first time I got caught stealing. All of you know, year 2, everyone's going to be sitting there, what the hell were you doing being a criminal at year 2? But yeah, that's how long ago I was being a little nuisance, But the situation with Ray Martin and my sister wasn't very clear. All I knew was that the name of the person was Ray Martin, and he was the one that tried to assault my sister. So at the train station, an incident occurred, and I don't know what my sister had gone and said to Ray Martin, but Ray Martin was trying to talk to her. I don't know if he was trying to pick her up. I don't know if he was just trying to be funny or be cocky around her. But my sister must have said something to the effect of like, go away, along those lines. And he kind of got offended because everyone was there watching and listening, and it kind of put him on show. And for those of you growing up as kids, you all know once you get put on show, you straight away you click it, especially if you're gang related. And now apparently he was gang related at the time. He was young, so I don't know how he was gang related, but apparently he was gang related. So when my sister was at the train station and he got offended, he had, I think it was a stick in his hand, yeah? And my sister was walking along the wall. Now, Ray Martin started hitting the stick at the wall next to her face. And he was like trying to scare her. And he was saying to her, do you know who I am? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Do you know who I am? And then he started saying the gang name Hell's Angels, like, who do you think you are? You know who I am? You know who I am? And he kept trying to hit her. Now, some people say my sister got hit. Some people say that my sister didn't get hit. He was just trying to scare her. But at the end of the day, her older brothers were in prison when Ray Martin did this. And number two, she's a female. And number three, like, what are you doing trying to intimidate a young female who just finished school and is a good girl? That's how I saw it, And obviously Ray Martin did it not knowing that he was messing with the Vaiusu brothers' little sister, The train guard was the one who ran down when he saw my sister getting harassed by Ray Martin, and he stopped it by saying the police had been called, and he was trying to push my sister to jump onto the train, And this is when my sister jumped on the train and left. Now, my sister hates mine and my brother's gang-related stuff so much that she didn't even tell us that this happened to her. It was people who were there at the time when it happened. They were the ones who reached out to us while we were in prison and explained to us what Ray Martin had done. Now, I realized that Ray was the same age as my sister, so they were both young, and I didn't want to send boys to go and bash him because obviously he was young. So I sent a message for him to apologize. And instead of apologizing, he bridged up using the gang name Hell's Angels. And then from that day forth, for how long? It's been over 10 years. Like this drama's been going on. This is why I chose to tell this story about Ray Martin, yeah? It's because all you younger generation need to understand this. Like, Ray went and messed with a girl that he had no idea was related to boys who were gang related. And that's the same as all of yous out there. Yous are messing with families that you don't know nothing about. You just think, they're innocent families, or you're just stealing a car of someone that's just coming from work, but you don't know who they're related to. You don't know if they're gang related themselves. And so when you get got, or if something happens to you, your whole family's like, why? But your whole family didn't realize it was you that went and got yourself involved in it. And this is why I'm telling this story. Like, Ray didn't know, and all I asked for was an apology, and he refused to apologize. Like, this is how stubborn he was, yeah? And then the first time he got attacked was when boys that I'm very close with tried to get him at Silverwater, and Ray went through things where he was stopped from mixing with bloodline boys because they knew there was intelligence to the effect of something might happen if Ray gets mixed with us. All right, let's fast forward a bit. Now Ray is a big boy. When I say big, he's massive, yeah? And he's gone and made a reputation for himself. He's joined a few gangs. He's been in a few family gangs. I'm not going to explain too much about that, but he ended up being with the Finks, all right? Now, I was at Goulburn prison, I think it was 2020, just before COVID hit, yeah? And I'm pretty sure it was 2020, yeah, just before COVID hit. And I got told that Ray Martin was coming to Goulburn. Now, he was on remand, and I was on remand, right? Straight away, I got ready. Like, I already knew that he was a big boy. So the first thing that I was going to do as soon as he turned up is I was going to put holes in him, you know, because this guy was the one that tried to assault my sister, you know. And even though my sister and I, had a fallout, she's still my little sister, yeah. And this has been going on for over 10 years, all because Ray refused to apologize. You know, that's all I asked for, you know, was apologize to my sister and I'll let it go. But he refused to apologize. And I just kept getting messages back from Ray saying that, he's about it and he doesn't care. Do what you need to do. So I was like, all right, it is what it is, you know. So while I was sitting at Goulburn waiting for him to turn up, he knew full well that I was there. But he didn't realize how much drama he had. So I found out after I got word that he was coming to Goulburn. I got word that he was coming to the remand yard, my yard. So I was like, sweet, he comes to the remand yard. Then me and one of the young Tongan boys were there waiting for him. But I told the young Tongan guy that wanted to back me up to stay out of it. I said, it's between me and Ray, and I'll sort it myself. But when I went over to the Islander yard, they started telling me, like, hey, did you hear Ray's coming? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, man, hopefully he comes to the Islander yard. I was like, oh, why? And I was shocked. The Tongan boys inside the Islander yard, they wanted to put holes in him. And I was like, oh, what? Okay, whoa, what happened? So apparently throughout Ray Martin's whole gang-related life, he had made a lot of enemies. You know, and so a lot of people were waiting for him to turn up so they could put holes in him, you know. So this is why this story needs to be told. I'm not trying to put Ray on show. All I'm trying to do is explain to you, younger generation, you know, you F with the wrong person, you're going to end up with holes in you, you know. And this is what I'm going to highlight, yeah. You have an opportunity right now to change. When you hear my stories, you have an opportunity to change, or you have an opportunity to stay on that straight and narrow path. You know, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Here's my story. Hopefully you learn from it. Now, what I'm explaining about Ray is so funny because the Finks that were there, remember, this is Ray's own gang, yeah? They had dramas with him. And I was like, what the? I was full shocked, you know? Ray was like, the Finks were saying when Ray comes, they were going to chop him. And I was like, oh, what happened? And apparently Ray had spoken out of school and they wanted to pull him up about it. And I was like, ooh, wow. So it doesn't matter where Ray goes, far out, he's going to get chopped. Comes to the remand yard, chopped. Goes to the Islander yard, chopped. Goes to the Fink yard, which is his own gang, chopped. You know what I mean? But he can't go to the Kuri yard because he's not Kuri, and he can't go to the Muslim yard because he's not Muslim. So wherever he went, he was going to get got. So I was like, wow. All right, let's see what happens when he gets here. Boom, Ray Martin gets to Goulburn. I'm sitting there waiting, and then all of a sudden, I see this big bloke, and I'm telling you, I was like, what the hell? That's not the Ray Martin I saw in the photo. This guy was massive, yeah? He comes walking towards my yard. I had my shirt off because obviously, like, I was waiting for him, you know. As he started walking towards my yard, he stops, and I'm standing there. I'm looking at him, but he's looking sideways, you know, like he's trying not to stare at me. But I was trying to stare him down, but I couldn't because he wasn't looking at me. But he was intentionally not looking at me because his body was faced my way, but his head was face down like this. All right. And as the screw went to open my gate, the other screw goes, no. And he goes, what? He goes, he's remand. And the other screw goes, no, he's not going in there. He's going in here. And they put him in the Fink yard. All right. Now, when Ray walks into the Fink yard, I'm sitting there and I'm like, ooh, he's going to get chopped, bro. And I was like, all right, all good. I don't have to do anything to him because his own gang's going to do it to him. But guess what happened? I don't think the Fink boys realized how big Ray was, yeah? Ray walks into the yard, and I'm standing there waiting for the Fink boys to attack him. But then they walked over and they shook his hand. I was like, what the? I thought these guys were gonna chop him, bro. And when they walked over and shook his hand, I was standing there and I was like, what the hell? And they were like hugging him, giving him kisses, and I was like, wait, these are the same blokes that were telling me for the last 2 weeks that as soon as he walks into the yard, they're gonna chop him. But this is what I realized. The Fink boys at the time, they knew he was on remand. So they started talking it up, not thinking that Ray was going to come to their yard. They thought Ray was going to come to the remand yard or the island yard. But when Ray got there, the Screws asked him, what gang are you in? And he goes, I'm a Fink. So the Screws automatically said, you know what? Let's not chuck him in the remand yard. Let's chuck him in the Fink yard. So the Finks made a big mistake at the time because they didn't realize how big he was. When the bloke walked in, for those of you who are not understanding exactly what I'm saying, if you're a 9-to-5 person, bikie gangs are Australia-wide. So they don't all know each other. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them like meet and they're like, oh, hi, I'm from Liverpool chapter, or oh yeah, I'm from Wollongong chapter, but they don't know each other, but they're in the same gang. So this is what happened that day. When Ray walked in, all these guys that were talking rubbish about him had never actually seen him before. They just used to talk to him through segregation, yeah? And when he walked in, they all started sucking his, you know what? Shaking his hand, giving him the little brother hug, you know? And then he went and sat down and he had his back to them. And not one person did anything to him. You know? And I was like, whoa. I go, bro, these guys all shit their pants. Not one person did anything, but they were all talking it up. When I say talking it up, I'm not even like exaggerating. When I say talking it up, these guys are a full-known bikie gang who are ruthless, yeah, like the Fink boys. And I'm not trying to put down the Fink boys. All I'm saying is the boys that were there that day, they full buckled, bro. You know, I swear. One islander, and there was about 16, 17 guys in there, and not one person made a move. Yeah? So he sits down, and then they start giving him food, and they start asking him if he's all right. And I'm standing there at the fence, waiting for something to happen. And then the Tongan guy whispers to me, and he goes, bro, I don't think these guys are going to do anything. I mean, oh yeah, that's the Tongan guy's name was Moala. He was actually a very good kid. I really liked him, Tongan kid. And then he goes, I don't think they're going to do it. I go, yeah. I go, obviously they're freaking all buckled, you know. Now, days go by, nothing happens. Weeks go by, nothing happens. And I thought, you know what? Stuff this. So I called the Finks boys over, you know, the ones that were talking, you know. I go, boys, come over here. So they came over to the fence, and then I whispered to them. Obviously, I didn't want to talk loud because Ray was listening, yeah. And I go to them, why the F did you talk it up? And they're like, oh, what do you mean, also? I said, bro, you were saying you were going to chop him as soon as he walks into the yard. But as soon as you guys saw how big he was, all of you freaking buckled. I go, bro, he's fucking a waste of time. And I swear to you, all these things said to me that day was like, nah, like, bro, like, he's one of the boys. So, you know, like, we have to give him an opportunity to explain himself, you know, like, we can't just run in. We can't just run in and chop one of the boys, you know. And I started laughing. I was actually laughing at their faces, yeah. And I was saying to them, get out of here, you freaking shit talkers. Okay, bro, what do you mean give him an opportunity to talk? Okay, bro, are you a gangster or not? All that freaking talk you were talking before he got here, and as soon as he gets here, you freaking buckle. Get the F out of here, bro. And this is what I'm telling all you younger generation out there, you know. You all go around thinking you're badasses right now, but as soon as you freaking meet up with your enemy, straight away, you're either going to buckle or they're going to buckle. But I'm telling you right now, you keep living this life that you're living, you're going to end up just like Ray Martin, in walking into a yard where people are supposed to be your brother, people are supposed to be your comrade, people are supposed to have your back to the death. And guess what? They were all plotting against you before you got there. All right? So this is why I'm telling this freaking story to all you younger generation out there, because you all think that you're all brothers. You all think that loyalty, sincerity, reliability is an easy thing. It's not an easy thing, because I'm telling you, when the consequences come knocking, it's your closest that turn on you. It's your closest that are plotting behind your back. Get that in you, all right? Now, As soon as one of the older boys came there, he wasn't a Fink. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a very good brother. He's got a son. Both of these two guys ended up at Goulburn while Ray Martin was there, yeah? I'm not going to explain this story into detail. This story is already spread like wildfire, because obviously there's a lot of people who do love Ray. And mind you, I never had a problem with Ray. My issue was he tried to harm my sister, and all I asked for was an apology. And all the crap that Ray went through when it came to our guys was all because he was so stubborn to apologize. You know, a simple apology would have got him out of it, yeah? Now, the yards ended up getting switched. The remand yard ended up having the big yard because we got more numbers, and the Fink yard, because they had small numbers, they went into the small yard. Now, this is the situation where Ray ended up getting hurt, but I'm going to explain it thoroughly to you guys, yeah? Messages had come back and forth from everyone, and everybody knew, like, I wanted Ray Martin chopped, the Islander boys wanted him chopped, and Fink boys were doing the undercover ones as well, you know, like they also wanted him chopped. But because he was in there, no one could do anything for him, so he was walking around freely thinking he was safe, but little did he know, his own brothers were plotting against him, yeah? Now, Ray was sitting down that morning, I think he was reading a newspaper, all right? And the word had already come to me that Ray was going to get got, all right? And not only was he going to get got because of all the drama he had started between all the gangs, but he was also going to get got because of Fink issues, yeah? Like, Fink is the name of the gang, for those of you who don't know. F-I-N-K, all right? And the Finks had now been ordered from one of the heavies to take on this mission, yeah? And this is what I'm saying, like, the heavies I'm talking about are the most humblest people, yeah? But these so-called full-time gangsters had to be told, like, what to do and when to do it, because they buckled when they were going to do it, you know? So they had to be told, hey, this is how it's going to be done. Wait for him to friggin' to sit down where he's... So when you sit down on the table, yeah, I'm going to show it to you guys. All right, this is my table. See this table here? All right, that's my table, yeah? So in prison, there's like a long chair that goes here, yeah? And then there's a table like here. Now, when you sit down, you have to put your legs over the top of the chair, and then you're pretty much stuck from table to chair. So if you get hit, yeah, you can't actually get out because your legs are stuck in here. So you can try to like get out of it quick, but you know, it's good luck to you. Like, this is what happened to Ray. He couldn't defend himself because he was stuck between the chair and the table, all right? Now, the boys over there had organized that this day was the day that Ray was gonna get got. Everyone was waiting for it. Everyone was in the know. So I was also standing there, and I was just like watching, waiting, you know. I didn't know whether they were going to buckle again or not, but I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen because the heavies were the ones that caught the shot. And the funniest thing is this. Ray didn't do himself any favors, all right? Yeah, he had the intimidation build, and also the intimidating height. Oh, sorry. What the hell? It's saying to me that I can't get gifts. Let's finish this story. Ray's sitting there. Long story short. Oh no, sorry. Let's finish why Ray didn't do himself any favors. While Ray was with his own gang, yeah, they started talking about loyalty, yeah, and I don't know what Ray was thinking, but he said to them, "Oh, if the Hell's Angels reached out to me with the right price, I would leave." I'm going to slap myself in the face. But he said this to his own gang. Like, you wonder why they gathered up the courage to take him on. It's because, like, Ray wasn't doing himself any favors. He's standing there in a Fink yard, who's his own gang, and then he tells them that, yeah, he has loyalty, But if another gang offers him big money, he would leave. Bro, of course you're going to get chopped. They're like, bro, it doesn't matter how scared people are. Right, at the end of the day, they got the numbers. And, bro, they're going to turn on you if you're talking that type of shit, you know. I don't know what Ray was thinking. But when he said this, the whole yard ended up saying, you know what, stuff this. He goes, we're going to take him out. So he didn't do himself any favors. Now, let's fast forward to what happened. Ray walked in to the yard, and then he went and he sat down. Now, the bloke was stuck between the table and the chair. I don't know if he was reading a newspaper or eating, but he was sitting down. And I remember when I walked past and I saw him, he was like leaned forward over the table, yeah? So I don't know what he was doing. But all I seen was a Breville. It came around and it just went whack like that, yeah? And they just kept whacking him and whacking him and whacking him, yeah? And then the other guy had a blade, and he was just going to town on Ray. And when he was going to town on Ray, like Ray was covering up. Because remember, Ray can't do nothing, yeah? He's stuck in between. Hey, hang on a sec, guys. Arden, yeah? He was sitting in between the chair and the table, so he couldn't move. Now, out of nowhere, this Breville, it comes swinging. And he had his head forward, and when the Breville came, it cracked him, boom. And it just kept going, crack, crack, crack. And then the blades come out, and they were going to town on him. And also another who was throwing heavy hits at him, yeah? And remember, Ray's a tall and big guy, so he would have been able to defend himself. But the Fink boys were smart enough to get him while he was in between the chair and the table, so he couldn't defend himself, yeah? While they were going down on him, the screws all saw it, and they all come running with the gas. Obviously, the same thing that happens all the time. Everyone get on the ground, everyone get on the ground. They were trying to move people out of the way, but it was just chaos. Like, everything was happening. Like, the guys that were jumping Ray, they were going to town on him. Like, yeah, I can sit here and say that the Finks buckled when he walked in, but when it came to orders, bro, these guys they did what needed to be done. They went to town on friggin' Ray, yeah. And when I say went to town on him, when the screws all come running in after he had got jumped, Ray, yeah, Ray stood up, and as he stood up, his ear was hanging. So remember when he got hit with the Breville like ripped his ear straight off, yeah, and it was hanging, all right? And everybody saw his ear hanging, and it was like, it wasn't only disgusting, but the fact that he got outed by several boys that considered him, that said that they were his brothers. That was the ugliest thing. He was more uglier than his ear hanging down, you know. But yeah, this is exactly what happened to Ray. You know, he had no legs to stand on. Like, he was like he was dazed, obviously, because he had been jumped from behind, and he didn't just get jumped by one or two guys, you know. Like, he got outed by a few guys. And the funniest thing is, the other Fink boys, they didn't get involved. They all stepped back to the fence. Obviously, the boys that were heavies, they had privileges that they didn't want to lose. So the younger guys were the ones that took up the orders. Wings, appreciate you. Crichton, love you, sis. So as Ray Martin's ear was hanging, like, everyone was just like focused on that, yeah. But when Ray was standing there, and all the Finks were on the other side now, and the Fink boys that jumped him were handcuffed, yeah. And Ray was standing there, and the squad and the screws came in to stop it. Ray now is able to get out of the table and stand up, all right? And as soon as he stood up, he turned to all the Finks And then he just went off, and he goes, "You friggin' dogs!" He goes, "Fuck, you want to cheap shot me?" And he just like went on a rampage and started going off. But the whole time he was going off, his ear was hanging down, like he got hard, yeah. And this is the thing, the reason why I bring these stories up, because all of you guys who are getting yourself involved in criminal matters, you are all thinking that these older boys love you. You are all thinking that your gang will stick by you through thick and thin. But you're not understanding, yeah? As soon as consequences come knocking, or as soon as your crew is pushed to a corner, they're going to turn on you. One by one, each and every one of them will turn on you. You know, look what happened to Ray. You know, he fought. His brotherhood had his back all the way. But they were the ones that turned on him. You know, they ripped his ear off. All right, he had to get taken to Long Bay Hospital to get his ear stitched back on. Like, that's how bad it was. But I give it to him. You know, he got up, he stood his ground, and he went off. You know, like he offered him out. No one stepped up to the plate because you couldn't have fought anyway. There was too many screws there. Even if you tried to attack each other, like nothing would have happened. Yeah, but he stood his ground. He never got stretchered out. He stood up. But the ugly thing was his own brotherhood turning on him, and also the fact that his ear was pretty much like ripped off. You know, now. All you gangsters out there, you know, this is what you're going to be looking at if you keep going down the path that you're going. You know, Ray then went on to go to Long Bay prison, and little did Ray know, Bloodline boys were all there. You know. So when Ray got there, he was in segregation, obviously, but he was in segregation with all Bloodline boys that were considered the heavy hitters, you know. and when the boys found out that Ray was there, obviously the boys, appreciate you, thank you, bro, Nuclear. When the Bloodline boys found out that Ray was there, obviously they already knew the story that he had got his ear ripped off, you know. And bro, it was the worst time for Ray, because not only did he just get jumped by his own gang, he now ended up at Long Bay prison with guys that he considered enemies, and they killed his life. Like, the Bloodline boys that were there, they were all yelling out to him, "Hey Ray, I can't hear you, I can't hear you." And that was their way of mocking him because of his ear, yeah. And this is what happens, you know, when you're inside prison. It's just like myself, you know. Like, I was not at a prison where my enemies were at, but my enemies were writing my name up on the wall, you know. Peter's a dog. Peter's a piece of crap. Peter's friggin' the biggest dog in the system. Peter's this, Peter's that. They ripped my reputations to shreds, my enemies, yeah, all over the walls. I had a friend that I was very close to. He was a Serbian guy named Dusan, yeah? And he used to write me letters, and he used to say to me, "Fa, Pita." He goes, this is the way he talks, his accent, yeah? He goes, "Why all these young islander boys talk rubbish?" He goes, "Every day they come and they write your name on the wall. Pita dog, Pita this, Pita that." He goes, "I don't give a fuck." He goes, "I am the painter. They write up, I go and I paint over the every day they write, every day I paint." This is what I mean. I got loyal boys around me that are different nationalities, you know. I don't care. I actually used to see my name written up on walls inside prisons, obviously because a lot of these youngsters had numbers, yeah. And they used to write rubbish up about me everywhere. And I swear, I used to see it, and I never used to rub it. A lot of boys used to run over, and they'll try to grab a scourer and try to rub their name off, like make sure that they keep their reputation. I never did this, you know. Love your Nuclear. Thank you very much, user. I never did this because to me, I knew who I was, and all my closest knew who I was, and I had done so much work for the islanders inside prison that I wasn't worried. Write my name up and talk rubbish all you want. It is what it is with Triggz, you know. You either love me or you hate me. And so what I'm explaining about Ray, like, you know, he put himself in that situation, And not only did his crew kill his life, when he got to friggin' Long Bay, like the Bloodline boys like killed his life, you know, mocking him, you know, not only about joining a gang that turned on him, but they were also mocking him about his ear, you know, yelling out to him, hey, we can't hear you, you know, obviously because the bloke almost lost his ear. And yeah, like he knows full well where I'm at with that situation. I didn't want no dramas with him, and he actually sent me messages several times from where he was at Macquarie Prison, saying that he wanted to talk, you know, whether he wanted to talk it out or not. Like, my thing is, I don't really care. You know, if someone wants to be my enemy, like, it is what it is. You step on my toes, I'm going to step up to the plate. That's how I am. That's how my brothers are. We don't take a backward step. But if you want to sort it out, I'm more than happy to sit down and sort it out. Like I said, all I wanted was an apology for my sister. It was as simple as that, you know. So if Ray's out there and he's listening to this story, this is the first time I've ever told this story. And like I said, I wasn't trying to put the bloke on show. I actually told the story exactly how it happened, you know. I didn't throw the bloke under the bus by making him look like rubbish. I told it how it was. That's exactly what happened, you know. And the last time I heard from him was one of my Asian mates called me and said that he wanted to chat, but obviously we couldn't chat because we were both in two different prisons. Anyway, that's the story from about Martin that everybody wanted to hear about, because if you guys didn't know, when Ray Martin almost lost his ear, it was like underworld news. Like, every gang heard about it. Everyone wanted to be in the know that weren't gang related. And now you have heard it straight here from Triggz. This is the real story of exactly what happened. And then everyone moved on with their lives. And obviously, like, I've put that stuff aside. It was in my past, and I will never look into that situation again unless he wants to step on my toes, you know. It is what it is with Triggz. I let things go because I'm on the path of change. Now, to everyone out there that's watching, I'm going to finish this off with this final story, and then after this story, I might do a little battle or two. All right, you want to battle me? Then call through when this story is finished. This story is a big story about a guy named Leo Tran. All right. He was very, very close to the Bloodline boys. And sorry, I'm just laughing at the comments. I love you. I appreciate you for the gifts. Thank you very much, everyone that's hearting me and pumping up the likes. Come on, guys, tap it up, pump these likes up. I appreciate each and every one of you out there. Yeah, Lecky, my man. All right, now let's get into the story about Leo Tran. This is very, very deep and meaningful story, because Leo was a very dangerous man once upon a time, you know. He's also been on the path of change. He's inside prison and he's just finishing his 18 years. I'm pretty sure he gets out next year, early next year. But 18 years he served for Erdemay. So this is the story about Leo. When I first met him, he had a good name, he had a good reputation, and he was known as a very dangerous man. He didn't care. Everywhere he went, he carried one of these, yeah. And we were together throughout our 20s, you know, before I ended up in prison for 10 years. And I met him from my brother 212 Heat. Long story short, there was a situation. I'll tell it like this. There was a situation that occurred, and him and his coes and my brother 212 Heat were being harassed by the police because someone had been unalived, Erdemade, and they believed that either my brother Leo or the other Koe had something to do with it. Yeah, there was surveillancing my brother hard over it, and all of you who sees things on Google about my brother 212 Heat, this is a different Erdemade, not the one that you guys all see on Google. This is a different one that everybody doesn't know about. Yeah, so long story short, Leo goes in and he gets 18 years in prison, yeah? And when I was coming up in the gang world with him, he was known as a very dangerous man. But there's a story that I really want to tell about him. Yeah, this is how loyal Leo was. So Leo was the type, if you're with him, he's with you all the way. Now, a situation occurred where plates of drugs, all right? Sorry to everyone that's calling through, please don't call through. I'm not going to answer your phone calls. And plates of drugs went missing, and there was 3 plates, and it was wrapped up like this, 1, 2, 3, yeah, and then it was put in a parcel, and it was supposed to be delivered to Melbourne. So the triads from Melbourne, they were doing business with a bikie gang here in Sydney, and the middleman was Leo and 2 other boys, yeah. Long story short, they were supposed to drive the plates of Ugg-Drays to Melbourne. And on the way there, Leo fell asleep. Obviously, Melbourne's a long drive, yeah? And then when they get there, Leo wakes up and the other 2 guys are arguing. And when they're arguing, he's like thinking, what the hell's going on? And then they start talking a bit loud, and he realizes they're talking about the product is missing. And then he gets up and he gets in and amongst the conversation. He's like, what do you mean the product's missing? The product was right here. And they're like, bro, you must have chucked it in the rubbish. And he was like, what? So he was full shock because he was like, wait, what do you mean? They started saying that he must have chucked it in the rubbish because it was wrapped in a black bag, yeah? And then he started going off. He goes, get out of here. They try to blame me. This is this, that. Yeah, and the other guys were putting it on him. One of them was his uncle, and the other one was one of his gang-related mates. Now, this is the reason why I'm telling this story, is because all you younger generation out there and you young adults need to understand that if you live this life, this is what's going to happen. Remember I was telling you about Raymond's story? This is another situation. Look at who turned on him. His uncle and one of his gang-related mates, yeah? Leo was asleep the whole way to Melbourne. And he wakes up during an argument where product was missing, and all of a sudden, these 2 guys start blaming Leo, saying that he must have chucked it in the rubbish. He had no idea what was going on. He's like, what are you talking about? Anyway, the triads in Melbourne ended up calling them to a meeting, and when they tried to explain the situation, bang, the gang-related boys, the triads in Melbourne, kidnapped all 3 of them, Leo, the uncle, and the other gang-related guy. So they got kidnapped by the triads in Melbourne while I was in Sydney with my brother and the bikie gang that was aligned with the triads. So they were doing business together, yeah, from Melbourne to Sydney. Had nothing to do with my brother and I, like, we were minding our own business, doing our own thing. This was something that they were doing internally. They were the middlemen for the bikie gang and the triads. So when they got kidnapped from the triads in Melbourne, a message came down to Sydney to the bikie guy that I was very close with. And the message was, we got these 3 boys, and a guy named Leo said to reach out to you that you can help secure their freedom. And then the bikie guy from my side said, what did they do? He goes, bro, 3 plates are missing, and we want them back. So the bikie guy called us, obviously, because he knows that we're close with Leo. My brother, 212 Heat, and I went and met up with the bikie boss, and the bikie boss started explaining, bro, I think we have to go to war with the triads. And I was like, why, what happened? He goes, bro, they kidnapped Leo and the uncle and his mate. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, they got him up there in Melbourne. And well, straight away, my brother 212 Heat and I were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go to war with the triads. It's all good. Let's do what we got to do. We'll call our boys. You call your boys. Let's do it. And then straight away, the bikie guy goes, all right, let me go talk to my guys. We met up the next day, and then the bikie guy explained to me and my brother 212 Heat. He goes, look, he goes, let's hold off on the war. He goes, let me go up there and by myself and talk to this triad guy, because I know him. You know, I'm not close with him, but he's a gentleman. I'm pretty sure he's very understanding, you know. So let me go up there and talk to him and find out like exactly what's wrong, you know. Anyway, my brother 212 Heat and I, we're crazy angry because we want Leo back. Leo's like family to us, you know. And then the bikie boss, he left for Melbourne. Cut us a long story short, we get a message back from the bikie boss, and the bikie boss is like, bro, he goes, I'm coming back with Leo, and I got a big story to tell you guys. Anyway, when we get back, we hug Leo, obviously, like, we got him back and that, and then the bikie boss goes on to tell the story, all right? He goes, when he gets there, they start explaining the triads that 3 plates had gone missing, and this incident had happened several times where the middleman was supposed to pass on either money or product, and things were going missing one by one, you know, and now all of a sudden it's 3 plates, and that's a lot of money. 3 plates, you know, it was like back then it was like around about $300,000. Anyway, when Leo came back, he didn't come back with his uncle or his gang-related mate. So we were asking, hey, what happened to the other 2 boys? He goes, bro, they kept them. I said, what do you mean kept them? Because the triad boys wouldn't let them go. I said, so wait, tell me the story. Explain to me everything what happened. As soon as you got to Melbourne, explain to me exactly what happened. And then that's when the bikie boss started explaining. Because when he got there, there's all 3 boys were tied up. And then he started explaining to the boss, he goes, of the triads, he goes, come on, man. He goes, you don't need to do this. Like, this can be easily sorted. It's only $300K, you know, like, you're acting like it's millions of dollars. And the triads, they're not about, they don't care about money. Like, they're straight 180, you know, like, they'll give you love. And if you F with loyalty, he goes, they don't care about, like, they're going to take you out, you know. So they started saying to the bikie boss, you need to speak to these 3 because these 3 out of these 3, one of them knows where the product is, and we want the product back now because we're going to bring up all these things that went missing in the past that these 3 idiots didn't realize we were keeping tally of, you know. So the bikie boss walks over and he talks to the 3 boys that are tied up in front of everyone. He's like, boys, what the F's going on? Like, come on, just tell them where the plates are, you know. And then Leo's sitting there quietly. Remember, he's tied up as well. And the other 2 start going on a rampage. The uncle and the brother that's linked to him. And they start carrying on about story. But we don't know where it is. I promise you, it was in a bag, black bag. He goes, Leo, you were the one sitting at the back. You must have chucked it in the rubbish. Leo sat there quietly during this whole friggin' rant that the uncle and the gang-related friend was going on, yeah? Instead of telling the triad bosses where the missing product was, they were going on a rant on how Leo must have been the one who chucked it in the rubbish, and that's why it's missing. And they were begging for their lives, and they were also begging the triad guys to let them go because they can pay for the missing product, but they need time. All right. Now, I told you already, the triads don't care about money. If you F with loyalty and the love that they've given you, they'll just literally say, all good with the money stuff there, we're going to take you out. That's how they are, all right? So the bikie boss goes, as the uncle and the bikie and the gang-related friend were going off. Remember, they're tied up, yeah, and they're like, it wasn't us. Straight away, the bikie boss turned to them and goes, oi, shut up, boys, enough. Leo, what the hell? You're just sitting there quietly, bro. Speak up. Freaking speak up. Now, this is the type of person Leo was, yeah? He was tied up and he stood up on his feet. And when he stood up on his feet, he looked at the bikie boss. Remember, we're close. Us 3, my brother and I, the bikie boss, and also Leo. He looks at the bikie boss and he whispers to him, tell Peter and Henry, I send my love to them and please look after my family. And then the bikie boss looked at him and goes, what? And then he walked away. So remember these words. That's exactly what he said. Tell Peter and Henry I send my love and please look after my family. Then he walked off. Remember, his uncle and his best mate were like going on friggin' going to town on him, blaming him for everything, yeah? So as soon as Leo walked off, everyone was quiet because he started walking towards the triad boss, yeah? And as soon as he got to the triad boss, he looked up at him and he goes, yeah, it was me. Take me out. The bikie boss, the one that we're close with, goes, Leo, what are you doing like that? And then the bikie boss goes, it was you? And he goes, yeah, it was me. And then he turned around to his uncle and his gang-related mate and he goes, you effing dogs. Huh? You want to blame me when I was asleep? You want to blame me while I was asleep? All good, boys, all good. And he turns back to the boss and goes, yeah, it was me. I took it. And the boss goes, all right, if you took it, where is it? He goes, I don't know. But kill me. It's all good. I took it. Bro, this is the type of person Leo was, yeah? Definition of gangster, all right? When he said this to the triad boss, the triad boss went quiet for a minute and he just stood there looking at Leo. And then he looked at the bikie boss and then he looked back at Leo and he said, you can go. And Leo was like, what? And he goes, boys, untie him. They untied Leo and he goes, go. He goes, you have 3 months to pay me my money back. And then Leo looked at his uncle in there and then the triad boss goes, don't look at them. What are you looking at them for? He goes, go out now before I change my mind. So Leo walked out with the bikie boss, came back to Sydney and met up with my brother 212 Heat and I. But his uncle and the gang-related guy never left with him. They got told to stay. Till this day, yeah? Till this day, we still haven't seen the uncle or the gang-related mate. We don't know what happened to them. I don't know what happened to them, yeah? But when Leo came back, he got on drugs heavily, and he was in and out of freaking different types of crimes because he was trying to get the money back for the product that went missing, so that he can give it back to the triad, so they can let his uncle and his mate go. So let me tell you about the definition of loyalty. Yeah, Leo didn't have to do anything now. The triads cannot touch him again. He's now in Sydney. This is his area. This is his location. The triads are based overseas and they're also based in Melbourne, but they can't touch him in Sydney. Why can't they touch him in Sydney? It's because he has us to have his back. All right. So he's untouchable in Sydney. Now, when he was trying to get his money back, I said to him, I go, bro, what are you doing? Why are you trying to get the money? But stuff them. If they want to come and get you, I said, tell them to come and try. I was like, nah. He goes, also, I want to try to get the money back for them. You know, like, I know they did wrong by me. I swear to you on my mother's life, I didn't take the product. I was asleep the whole way to Melbourne. And he goes, but bro, like, that's my uncle, you know, like, I want to help him get out of it. And I was like, bro, what the hell? This guy is freaking, he's just like me, you know, the Asian version of me. Like, he's so loyal, you know, to a fault, you know. And so I let him do what he's got to do. And during this process of where he was trying to secure money in order to get his uncle and his gang-related mate back, that's when the Erdemay happened. Something occurred. A guy got holes put in him, and he ended up passing away. And now the police started hunting Leo, his co-offender, and my brother. A 212 Heat, you know, they were harassing them. No one got arrested at the time. They were just harassing them because apparently camera footage showed them in the vicinity of the area where the Erdemay happened. All right. My boys and I went to visit Leo one day, and when we knocked on the door, we walked in for about 2 seconds, and then a knock came at the door, and when Leo opened it up, there was about 10 officers like standing outside. I'm not even exaggerating. It wasn't 2, it wasn't 3, but I swear to you, it was like 10 of them, yeah? They told us, he goes, Vaiusu. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, where's Lai? Lai is one of the other boys, Kevin Lai. And I go, yeah, he's here. And I go, what's wrong? And like, I want all of you to come out. So all of us came out and we had to line up in front of the police that confronted us, yeah? I said, what are you guys all doing here at Leo's house? And he goes, Vaiusu, you're on parole. Kevin Lai, you're on parole. What are you doing here at Leo's house? And I love you, I appreciate you. And I was like, no, we just came to visit. We just came to eat. And then this is what the cop said to us. Listen, guys, he's under investigation for murder, yeah? He goes, I'm going to tell you this once and I'm not going to tell you this again. I will breach your paroles and you will go back to prison if you ever come back to Leo's house again. Because we're telling you right now, see, Leo, he's going to get locked up very, very soon. Okay. And this is the story that this is the thing that the cop used to scare us and said if we ever come back there, we were going to get arrested and our paroles were going to be breached. And he also said that Leo was going to go in for murder. And guess what? Everything the cop said that day was true. We never went back to the house again, and the cops went hunting for the boys to see if they could secure an arrest. And how the arrest happened was so funny, all right? My brother 212, my little cousin Azar, and Leo were all in the house. Now, every cop knows that my brother's very violent and he doesn't care who they are. But my brother's only violent if someone is trying to step on his toes. He's not violent for any reason. When he does things, it's for a reason. So because my brother 212, he was in this house, instead of running in and attacking the boys and arresting them and bringing them out, what they did was the cops lined up outside and then they yelled out on a mic, Vaiusu, Tran. He goes, want you to put your hands up and come outside right now. It's like they actually used the mic to convince my brother and that to come out. And the funniest story is Leo had some drugs in the house that he was like obviously smoking and whatnot. But because the cops didn't come in, they didn't find it. So the whole time they were trying to get Leo and my brother to come out of the house, he was flushing everything down the toilet. He was trying to get rid of it, yeah? But the funniest story out of all of this is my little cousin, Azar. From what my brother told me is they realized something was going on because Azar started yelling out to them, giving him a green light, giving them a heads up. Cops are here, yeah? And the thing that's funny about this story is Azar never had a criminal record, my little cousin. He's never been involved in anything, never been involved in dramas, yeah? But he was hanging out with my brother 212 Heat. So I don't know what he was doing outside that day. I wasn't there when it happened. I'm just telling you the story that my brother told me. And he goes, when they heard something, he opened up the curtain and looked outside and he said Azar was hogtied. They not only did they grab his feet, but they grabbed his arms, yeah, and they locked him, the cops, and they held him down, yeah. So both his hands and his freaking feet were locked. And for all of you criminals out there that know the game, you just get handcuffed to your hands, but he had his legs and hands tied. And my brother said when he saw freaking Azar tied up like that, he said, bro, what the hell, like that? That's when they used the mic to try to convince my brother and Leo to come out. Leo was there dumping his UGJs down the toilet and flushing it. And Azar, I'll give it to him, for a young kid who's never been involved in nothing, he still had the balls to yell out to my brother to give him a heads up that the police were there, That's why my brother loves Azar a lot. Anyway, the boys ended up coming out. Both my brother and Leo got arrested. And then when the paddy wagon came, they put Leo in there and they drove off. And then they unhandcuffed my brother and my cousin Azar, and they told them to get out of the area and don't come back. And then that's when my brother realized, oh wow, they weren't coming for us, they were coming for Leo. And then that's when Leo got charged for murder, mate. He got charged for murder and his other co-offender got charged for murder. They ended up going through trial, and Leo's mate pretty much threw him under the bus with a lot of things that occurred, yeah? And Leo is now serving 18 years, but he's at the end of his 18 years. So this was 18 years ago, this story, yeah? He's at the end of his 18 years. But let me explain something to you. To every single one of you out there that's involved in crime, yeah? Let me explain to you the story about Leo. Guess what? He did 18 years for nothing. He wasn't the one that killed that bloke. 18 years inside prison for something he didn't do. He went to trial and he got found guilty time and time again, yeah? Had no appeal, had no help from no one. The only people that helped him was my brother and I, and also his family. But he did 18 years, yeah? He's finishing off his 18 years, yeah? For a murder that he didn't commit. Leo, he actually knows the person who did it. Obviously, we know who did it as well. And that person threw him under the bus. So it was that other guy, he was the one that did the murder, and he blamed it on Leo. And that was Leo's own mate, all right? So to all you younger generation that's watching my live right now, let's go back on the story. Leo got effed over by his uncle and his gang-related mate. They tried to throw him under the bus. But the triad, man, he was about honor, loyalty, reliability, sincerity. So when he looked into Leo's eyes, when Leo said, kill me, straight away, the triad saw straight through him and realized he's actually doesn't care about his life, and he's willing to die for something he didn't do. He believed that he was innocent, so he let him walk. Fast forward, Leo was involved in a situation. His mate is the one that did the abbing stay. The guy ended up being unalive, and now this guy turned around and he blamed everything on Leo. So Leo is now serving gets 18 years, and even though he got 18 years, he kept his mouth shut, didn't utter a word again, and the poor bloke didn't even commit the urumai. He's doing 18 years for something he didn't do. That's what I call the definition of a gangster. Like, he's in there, he's obviously changed his life, he's fully changed his whole life. He's gone religious, and when I say religious, I'm talking about Buddhism. Like, he doesn't get involved in gang related stuff. He quit drugs like 10 years ago. And when I was with him, he's not the same Leo that the Leo I know had a reputation and was very feared by people. Now he's just like a little geek. He's changed his whole life. He just wants to be a good man, and he wants to look after his family upon release, and he gets out, I'm pretty sure, at the beginning of next year. So God bless him and his family, and that's where it's at when I'm telling his story. Because to all you younger generation out there that's listening to my live right now, just remember Ray Martin's story of how his boys turned on him. Just remember Leo's story of how his own family and his own boys turned on him. Till this day, none of us have ever seen or heard from Leo's uncle or that gang-related friend. And Leo ended up in prison, so obviously he didn't pay that debt back. It's not an issue anymore because that triad gang is long gone. But there you go. The most closest people to Ray Martin and to Leo are the ones that turned on them. And that's exactly what's going to happen to each and every one of you if you keep living this life. If you're living a legit life and you have people turn on you, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you can get rid of those friends and get new friends, or even if it's your family members turning on you, you can just get rid of those family members and go live your own life. But if you're living gang-related rubbish, this is what's going to happen to you. 18 years for something you didn't do. And if it's not 18 years, you're going to end up 6 feet deep. You know what I mean? And if it's not 6 feet deep, you're going to end up crippled in a wheelchair. There's several people that this situation has happened to that I can tell. So for all you fools who keep getting on my comments and saying, Triggz, why aren't you coming back on live? Have you ran out of stories? Mate, I got stories that can get for 6 years, all right? Let me tell you that. I have so many stories that's not funny, but the stories that I'm only willing to tell are the stories that help the younger generation and the young adults. I don't give a damn about telling stories of how gangster someone is. If it helps teach the younger ones not to live this type of life, cool, I'm going to tell that story. But if it's just some story that glorifies gang life, or if it's some story that glorifies this gang-related figure, then the hell with that. I'm not going to be telling it. Simple as that, all right? So this is where we're at, everyone. I wish you all nothing but the best in life. This is where I'm going to leave it, because